I know a lot of people are sitting and waiting for us to kind of come back from break, and I do apologize when you're going to hear a little bit of music as we return, and I will go ahead and turn that off. I did not plan this very well. I wanted to make sure that I was able to plan this a little bit. But the problem with the live show is that we're doing it live. That's kind of how all of this works. But it's you got to play with what you got to play with. But welcome back, everybody. It's VRCDJLIVE, and we're here at the mall of VKet and the Crescent. I wish I remembered it off the top of my head. The Crescent.
They are some long names.
Crescent, the Alter Vista Midnight Crescent Com map, and that's where we're hanging out for a couple hours, and bringing in special guests, part of the scene and a part of the VRChat community, and a little bit of VKet stuff for you too. You've been doing a little bit of work behind the scenes with VKet, and it's really nice, and I'm sure we have a lot to talk about it. But joining us here in the VRC DJ Live booth, please welcome CraneVT.
Hey, I muted myself. Hi, everybody.
He's kind of like
Lovely
said that.
Here. I was unmuted and then I muted myself to say hello. Yeah, common mistake.
I know in the maybe I'll get on your level. Yeah, there we go. Because it does seem like you're a little bit smaller than I am. So
no, it's that I sank when I adjusted myself.
Okay,
so
cool.
I went to say hello and I just
It's either that or I have a really massive head.
I set my rolly chair down a little bit. Don't worry.
Let's see here. I just want to make sure the camera is looking good here too. But really glad to have you here on the program too, especially because I've been hearing a lot of things about your programming, a lot of things that you've been doing in the background, and as well as I've been seeing a little bit of your takes about the communities and what you've been able to experience here in VRChat. So kind of briskly tell us a little bit about, because you were telling me earlier how you started back in like 2018 and there was like a small bit of a break and then you came back and then all of a sudden everything interests you when it comes to making like video stuff.
Yeah, the very short version of the story is that I did make my initial account December 27th, 2017. So basically 2018 is when I started playing. That was right when Uganda Knuckles happened and right when it came out on Steam. And, I made a promise to myself then. I said, man, this is the coolest thing on planet Earth. This is what I always wanted. I'm going to get VR. And it didn't make sense for me to get VR until Facebook released a headset that said, hey, this is $300 and you can connect it to your PC. I said, okay, Perfect. I got to get that. And it took me a long while after getting the headset to really, truly appreciate and interact with the game the way I do now. That was sort of the whole reason behind that first video essay I did about VR in particular, which was I spent half a year of my life in VRChat. That was, it was that, and my appearance on the Metaverse DGen podcast, I would say, is what really put me on the map before I had my most recent video.
Cool. And I know, obviously we're going to talk a lot about your recent video, and it's we were always trying to figure out a good time to do that, especially within VRC DJ Live, because the moment happened, the whole 60-hour ketamine thing happened, and I felt like a lot of people also DM'd me about my opinion on it, and I'm sitting here going, I could always come in here and spit my opinion, but at the same time, it'd be more interesting for me to hear it from other people, to kind of hear what they think about it. Because ultimately, kind of just like a popular trend, it's either going to hit or it's going to quit. And when it came to that in this community, I think a lot of people, when they heard too much about it and too many people talking about it, they were just like, there's so many other things that we could be like complaining about. There could be a lot of other things that we could be talking about. Even and while we do from time to time think a little bit about what that would look like and the evidence behind it, we also have good support groups. We have ways to communicate with each other if somebody was having some difficulty. Even if there was some difficulty, we would always try to find a way to alleviate it or make a resolution from it. But even more so, I think the other part of it that I think a lot of people are having a tough time with it is the representation of what we've got going on in here. Because while we're all trying to do some really awesome stuff, there's still a lot of people out there that don't believe it. That's basically it. It's just we're especially with VKet. VKet has been going on for it goes on for such a long time, and we try to explain how awesome it is. And when we do bring people in, they believe it for like a moment, and then afterwards, the rest of their life consumes them, and they're just like, well, okay, virtual reality, what's that? So I think a lot of people in the community were kind of just nervous about how the outside world was reacting to hearing something like that, comparable to finding like a positive or honest resolution from it. So we'll talk. I don't want to talk about it at the beginning of it. I want to talk about all the good stuff at the beginning of this conversation.
Right.
We're supposed to kind of get into it, but like, so you're a filmmaker. You make these. You're calling them essays, right?
Mm-hmm. In YouTube, that's the style of video I tend to enjoy the most, and that best broadly describes the type of content most people and the kind of content that I'm trying to make is a video essay. If you look over all of my videos, not just the VR ones, that's generally what they are. Is like, there's a thought, there's a topic, I explore that topic, right? Even though the newest one was less of that, and not to go too deep into it, like you said, that's sort of the focus I have around it. Most people, they see VTuber and they think streamer. I've really enjoyed being a VKet collab streamer this year, participating in a couple other people's streams and then hosting one just recently. But it's been a strange journey for sure. I forgot the point you left me off on and where I would want to go from there. But continue, please.
So, well, again, one of the styles of videos that you were saying with making an essay out of a video, and I'm curious about this just because even in the past couple of years, there has been a lot of YouTube content, a lot of YouTube video content. Featuring all sorts of different things between memes, actual like filmmaking, to response videos to specific things. I know we've always kind of alluded to some of the more clickbaity kind of topics, the stuff that people believe, stuff that people from the outside already know what's kind of going on in here. Like sexy dancing and maybe alcoholism or grooming minors and stuff like that. I'm not saying that it is always apparent in here, but I feel like anywhere you go has a small ounce of that. That is still a problem that we're still trying to identify better means to be responsible and make sure that we're taking care of those scenarios. And I think for the shortest amount of time, those videos, people were upset because there were just so many video filmmakers that were making that type of content as opposed to the positive content. You know what I mean? And while the thing about the 60-hour ketamine, it's meant for me. It's more of a the way you created it was a historic justice. It was meant for history. It was meant for us to remember, and it was a way for us to so we can go back and say, what did these people think about this, and how did we come to a resolution based upon that, as opposed to just saying we're moving on. Like instead of just saying, oh yeah, we're going to forget about it, at least we'll have something that we can remember by, especially something that happened this year. So that's all of that is super important. So I want to start off with how you came to want to create films like this in YouTube. Did you have any sort of inspiration? Have you always been wanting to make stuff like this before?
Yeah. I got my started in a bridge series over a decade ago, working with a lot of amazing and incredibly talented people. And I later moved on and into politics around 2015. So just before the 2016 election, I saw sort of where things were going and I got out quick. And mind you, that was right when I was graduating high school. I graduated 2015. After that time, I sort of gave up content creation and having a public life. So for about a decade, I lived a quiet and peaceful life, private and reserved like most people do. You know, I had small friend groups and, you know, Discords and stuff like that, but I gave up almost all social media. I mean, I deleted Twitter, all of that. So
More power to you.
you know, I had been a powerful, well-respected, you know, high trust person surrounded by other, you know, people like that, and I gave it up. And I only really recently made even an attempt to sort of come back into that life with my new effort in VTubing, which I started in 2024. I debuted in January, so I'm in technically year 2 right now, but I didn't even start in my VR content until the start of year 2. So it took me a year of VTubing to realize that, you know, I always had this love of VR, and now I'm doing this content creation thing, but I'm not really doing what I love with it. So why don't I find a way to marry what I actually love doing, which is being here in VR, with the thing that I'm, you know, trying to get myself back into? So it was a very natural. I think I knew from the start as a VTuber I wanted to integrate VR into my streaming in some way, but I didn't realize just how powerful it was as a means for me to do that, right? So coming around to focus on VR, that first video of illustrating just how much time I spent in the game, it was an important and powerful point I felt to make, because it truly does take half a year of somebody's life worth of experience to fumble and make the mistakes and to search and scour to find the right people, to learn the right lessons, to have a good user experience in this game, in life, because that's really what this game is the same way you look at the mirror, you see your avatar. This game is going to reflect the sorts of experiences that you're going to have in real life, right? So, you know, it takes effort to find the right people to hang out with and to have a good time. And that was a lot of the message I was trying to illustrate with that. And, you know, that's what I like to promote with my content, is look at all of these spaces that you could be having a good time in, at least now that I've discovered these spaces.
Mm-hmm. And being able to, oh, we got a Hatsune Miku here. Hello.
Yo, wait, is this a podcast going on?
Yeah, you're kind of cutting in our podcast, but thank you for coming by.
No way. No. My bad.
Oh, good.
It's fine.
Good.
Yeah, you can still,
Yeah, you can explore the booth.
Yeah. Enjoy the booth, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you.
That's the beautiful thing. We're live here at a convention, so people are exploring the world. They want to see what's going on, and you know, I love that.
Well, I like Hatsune Miku too, so that works for me. But like, you're absolutely right when it comes to the whole like taking that amount of time in virtual reality alone. It's kind of like not really learning how to walk or crawl again, but it kind of brings back to the whole like, now you're within a fandom. You're a part of a whole community of people that like a specific thing, but you have to find your tribe and you have to find the people that you want to be a part of. But it does take a very long time to be able to communicate that with a lot of different people. But then once you start to, you know, get to grow and find the people that you're wanting to hang out with, it does seem like cake. Even comparable to what you've been seeing online. And I think a lot of the outsiders that are trying to come in here to learn about some of the stuff, what they should be doing, not a plug by any means, but a plug by any means, is they should be coming into VKet. This is an opportunity to come in and meet like-minded creators of specific things and specific actions. And even your journey of being a VTuber too is like, a lot of that is it's the harsh realities that people have to go through that you cannot literally tell them about, because they will experience it a little bit different than how you did. And it's frightening and it's a mystery, but at the same time, they'll get it when they do. And the same thing with VTubing too. I hear it time and time again from my friends and from my colleagues and from people that are genuinely trying to create creator clubs based on this, is all VTubers want to hang out with each other, but they don't want to talk to each other. so when it comes to like trying to find collaboration, it's very difficult for them to do any sort of outreach because they're a little afraid of them about that. There are some like drama things that do happen from time to time, and not anybody has the stomach or the heart or the mind to want to go through all of that trauma. They just want to be friends. And I feel like in VRChat, that's kind of similar too. And when you come in here, you want to be funny, you want to be memey, you want to do whatever. But just as a gimmick, you can only have it for so long before it gets a little stale, and you got to switch it up a bit. So it's a weird culmination of being realistic, but also like I've heard time and time again that you have a lot of people coming in here trying to play a role or play a character, and they either stick with that character that people know as that character, or you just, be regular with that. So out of the half a year that you've been exploring in this scenario, what has been kind of your findings on that? Has it been more of a you trying to understand a character role, or is it are you finding it more comfortable to just be you?
I always found it more comfortable just to be me, and the avatars I always picked were expressive of me. I will go into the new video just a tiny bit to mention that in Lun's interview, he made a big point of that, saying that people legitimately will not play the game if they cannot find an avatar that expresses them properly, which is why you see people going into that character role in certain circumstances that you're speaking to, right? It's because they want to view the idealized self in a way like that character. So playing the role of that character helps them emerge, the self that they present in reality, the idealized self. You grow on that journey, and it's in the same way that you'll say that you've seen plenty of people changed by this game to become more like their avatars, right? With the trans academy and the queer population of this game, that's something that you can measure and quantify very literally, right? That change. And it's a beautiful and a therapeutic thing that this game is available for them, and an outlet for them to express themselves in that way. For other people, it could be as simple as fashion, hairstyle, certain things like that. I'll say that I got this outfit for a fashion event hosted by a friend of mine named Asterix. She wanted to have a retro event, and I noticed that classic bowler shirts were on the menu. So I said, give me a floral print one. I got to look as aggressively Floridian as possible for her retro event. She said, okay, it's on the style sheet. It counts. You're good. I said, perfect. And then I went to Off-Kai for all the way in California. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I never thought I'd ever be out to the West Coast, but there I was taking, 6-8 hour flight.
Mm-hmm.
I end up over there. The Atlantic and the Pacific, both, if you're ever on the coast, super windy. So don't do what I did and buy a floral shirt like this so that you can look aggressively Floridian at a convention, because you wanted to look aggressively Floridian in VRChat. So there's another measurable example of how, how important it is that people want to feel and look like their avatar. That's one of the big reasons why you see the game come out with the avatar marketplace and such a big push for it now, is because it gives creators another way to bring the avatars to people, and it's such an important part of the game.
Yeah, and I know finding self-identification too is super important, especially as you were saying with like the Trans Academy, that this VRChat has always been a very good safe space for understanding if you are interested in doing a transition or you're wanting to transition. And I again, me growing up on the East Coast, I've never really been able to experience what type of pressure it can be for anybody in the Central Mountain Coast or even Pacific Coast, depending on family values and all that sort of stuff. But VRChat really does offer a very valid place to be able to come in here, find your tribe, figure out who you are. And even for me, being in here for such a long time, I've been able to see a lot of that too, where you've been seeing a lot of people, and especially me. Like I'm not saying that I'd ever want to become a woman, but like I early on, I was able to feel what it's like to be in this avatar. And there was a time in my VRChat career where I was catcalled a little bit, and I was like, all right, took a step back and like, how do I feel about this? How, what am I supposed to, how am I supposed to react to this compared to like, if you were to see me in real life compared to her, and me trying to get frisky with you because you're catcalling me in here.
I guarantee you felt a million times safer doing this in VR chat than you ever would in reality.
I was still getting the goose pimples, but at the same time, like it was a surreal. I didn't want to just go up to like my girlfriend at the time and be like, I got a taste of it. I'm sorry. But at the same time, I'm just like, kind of got a taste of it a little bit. I'm sorry. But so understanding all of that concept too is very important, especially in here too. But also as a VTuber as well. And I know we were just talking with Novid about an hour ago about that, how like, the VTuber scene is starting to, well, this year alone, the VTuber scene's been shaken up a little bit compared to what VShojo's been kind of going through. I know VTubon's been kind of doing really well, and we've had those are mostly VR chat people doing their own thing. But right now within the VTuber scene, there are some people are treading on thin ice as far as like understanding if they want to get into it or how they should be getting into it, comparable to managers and stuff like that. So when you decided to become a VTuber, what kind of content were you looking to create? Were you did you have a specific purpose in mind on how you wanted to handle your appearance and how you wanted to handle yourself?
Yeah. The appearance, my 3D model almost exactly matches my 2D design, minus the clothing. The clothing changes for VR, obviously. In terms of the type of content I wanted to make, for some context, I'll mention that I was formerly one of the top performing male escorts on a service called epal.gg that was formerly egirl.gg. So as a former escort, I possessed a certain set of skills and talents that, I thought would have made me good as, I would describe my character's looks as ikemen, so pretty boy. I thought maybe I could cater to the fujoshi, the fudanshi, and maybe the ASMR audience. That was honestly my first thought and instinct was I was going to hard pivot and I was going to get that bag. Okay. And then February rolled around and I got into a relationship with a sweet girl, Christian, first boyfriend I am to her. She's I am her first boyfriend. And all of that shit went straight in the toilet. So I said, okay, I am a say-so VTuber now. How do I make this work, right? So the D&D podcasts with them, and I played some variety streams, gaming. I worked on a couple of video essays sporadically. My very first video essay was who was the first VTuber. I thought that was a nice little meta commentary. And one of the very early VR things in that video was my discovery, and one of the things that led me on my VR journey to places like this was my discovery of Virtual Girl Nem, who has spoken at the UN and is part of the VRoid Standardization Committee. She's one of the oldest active indie VTubers, a big advocate for VR spaces globally, not just in Japan, but globally. That video, the other one I really enjoyed making around that time was The Legacy of Daddy DJ, How a Melody Inspired a Generation. Not only because I got to talk about Crazy Frog, but I was born 95, so that early era of techno, early 2000s, was just always lived in my mind rent free. Put any of that music on, and you'll have me shaking like it's a DJ White Class clap on the running the set. So yeah, I had some fun working on a couple of sporadic videos like that, streaming, doing more conventional thing. But the real crazy pivot point for me was my involvement in the VRChat boxing league. because for a long while, and under my previous identity before VTubing, I was a commentator for the official English league, as well as for one of the VKet Japanese tournaments. I provided an official English commentary stream that I forgot to hit go live on.
Oh no.
We had to host it after the fact as a watching of the VOD, but things did not turn out well for me. Excuse me. In the VRCDJLIVE league, I had a major fallout with two particular English staffers that I just found incredibly difficult and unreasonable to work with. No amount of reason, logic, or communication was able to get through to them, and any complaints I had, not to, the boxing league has actually gone through a lot of healing in that time and process, and under the new management, as I understand, a lot of the things that I was saying back then about how the English league needed to meet the standards of the Japanese league, I'm sure in your time playing this game, you realize that in the Japanese events and Japanese worlds and their culture in this game, it is so much more organized and everything has a purpose, and there's so much more production value and thought and care put into everything, right? And the big thing I noticed for that was that in the Japanese scene, in VRC boxing, they're officially recognized as an esport. They get tons of sponsors, including VKet and Hickey and all of these other people to sponsor their tournaments. They go to Tokyo Tower. Their events get televised. You can watch VRChat boxing on Japanese television. And,
wow, cool.
They have the Japan Boxing Commission sponsoring them, recognizing them as an esport. So why can't we capture that lightning in a bottle, make it happen in America? And at the time, I had my own hubris and my own selfish want in my mind. I said, make me the first, esports commentating VTuber, officially fucking signed by a company, right? Please make this real. Please make my career on this line. It didn't work out that way, and I quit the boxing league and working with Tori-san and his team in Coloring. My girlfriend is part of the English staff and has been that whole time, so that's nice and awkward as well. Hi, honey. Sorry, I they never had me as staff. I was only ever a commentator, but it's very messy history in regards to all of that. But I don't mind going over it just for the context of letting people know my own personal history. Moving on from that, I did the half a year of my life video. I really buckled down on VR. And after I told the story of having spent half a year of my life in VRChat, I promised to end that video with why I spent half a year of my life in VRChat. But I never responded to that because I didn't have a good answer to it, right? And in the time between recording that, and I'd say now, I've found every reason why it is that I still play this game. And I've played an extra 1,000 hours since then, about 5,400 hours. It's because of things like this and project community, and the people that I'm close to that I love, like my girlfriend, right? Like all of these things are the reasons why. So I think eventually I'll come back and do that video, but I'm putting a nice bow on it. That's sort of from then to now, in as my story.
What I find very awesome, and I wish I did a better job when I was younger, is I was trying to capture moments every year and have a folder in a separate storage unit, like a terabyte drive or something, of pictures and videos and experiences and items of things that I've done over every year ever since I can remember, back in school and stuff like that. And VRChat always seems like that to me as well, because all of the things that we have done, our previous experiences, whether they worked or not, they're still learning tools further on down the road. And the same thing with the boxing thing. I promise you, this year alone, I mean, this month alone, I'm hearing so much more about this whole virtual boxing thing than I even have wanted to know much about it.
A huge deal.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
And being able to have those dreams and aspirations of wanting to be a commentator like that is super cool. Like, that's a really cool thing for you to be able to be a part of and focus your attentions on. It may not work all of the time. That's an unfortunate realization. You know, just same thing with me in radio. I've been working 10 years in radio. Radio's kind of dying. I wish I could put more energies into radio if it wouldn't stop dying, but it's dying. So, you know, being able to have those passions are super important, but it's even more important. And I was going to lead into the whole, you know, with you being a collaborative streamer for VKet and how you're focusing a lot of your attention in here is super, super great. I wanted to kind of lean into that a little bit more just because the experiences that you're sharing with us today on the show, is super, it's super entertaining and it's super noteworthy. Because there are a lot of people in VRChat currently that I would assume they want to have the same kind of journey as you, even if there are some rocky bits. But I think that there's a bit of solace that they'll find with if they first come in here and they can't find their tribe, they can't find their friends, they can't find the people that they've been seeing. I'll go ahead and say it, like in 2017 when I was first wanting to be in here, I was watching all of my content through Twitch. So all the VRChat people, the Uganda Knuckles people in 2018, I wanted to meet. But me coming in here, it wasn't as easy as getting in here and saying, oh, I'm going to go hang out with so-and-so because I've been watching them on Twitch the entire time. And that threw me in a little bit of a loop because I'm just like, well, they say that they're here. They say that they're here in this mall. Yet I've seen this mall and there's no one here. You know, so I'm like, so where are they? Are they lying? Are they trying to, you know, so everybody's got through process of being able to handle that. But having you, I feel like you're taking the correct steps with joining in to a much broader club and community of people that are focusing their attentions on the future of 3D, and having an integration between the Western and the Japanese cultures. And I think you're on the right track to be able to contact all sorts of different people, especially within the VKet group and the Hickey group. So tell us a little bit about how you're feeling being a part of this now and representing VRChat on a collaborative streamer level.
It's been incredible to have been part of. It feels like a family. You know, every Wednesday or every event hosted by somebody who's involved in the community here, Asterix, Kudo, anybody, Nopid, anybody, literally anybody. Whether it's something officially related to VKet, they're just online and I come in on them. You know, it's some of the kindest, best people that I've ever met in this game are the people that work on this. And it's exactly like you said, because they're focused on you know, the future of 3D and making this game a better space. It's hard to find people with that. It's like they're Star Trek characters, right? Like, this is a eudaimonic society that we're participating in when we're here at VKet, when we're there at Project Community. Because even within the creator community, right, there are pockets and elements and people who, you know, they want to hoard their work and share their secrets, and they would rather demean and belittle the person across from them. Oh, I prefer booth bases, so that Gumroad style avatar and that Jinxie, that's IMVU trash, that's eBoy trash. You know, the person on the other side of the fence, oh, that's a TDA thought. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to draw those lines in this game. Like, oh, they're a questie. Right, like we have so many ways to build walls between us that we forget that the reason we put on the headset was to build bridges, and to be around people that are building bridges, it's just so much better. Because I you know, it's like you said, a lot of people, you know, they struggle, they find their tribe. You know, a lot of the tribes they do find, you know, might not survive. If I can help direct people to one as good as this, and you know, help them. You know, that's what, between the music scene, the conventions, and like the general event and group role play, like miscellaneous, like just structured VR chat. Because you have public, unstructured, chaotic, anarchy, desert, and you have the oases, which are those three broad categories, I would say. You know, uh, in my latest video, there is a point where I come up with a graph and I say, here's the graph of time you spent in the game versus the how much fun you had in the game, or how much reputation you earned in the game. And there's a delta. And too many people fall on the bottom end of that delta, and we gotta bring them up. We gotta get them on the other side. We gotta make those numbers go up, right?
Mm-hmm. So even with your ongoing reporting, I guess, understanding of the different communities in here, obviously you've been seeing a lot of VKet stuff, how they've been handling Wednesdays, their commuter, their creator meetups, and they go around the different worlds and stuff like that. It's fascinating to me that you are getting a little bit more interested in the other various groups that are being put in here. And honestly, I'm surprised that you haven't touched the rain dance people yet first, because I feel like your style of filmography and stuff like that would kind of naturally bleed into that. But at the same time, you know, depending on how you want to actually create your content is going to be a little different compared to how they want to present it. But
I just watched the Dutchman in virtual Japan. They had a screening here, and I knew that was at Rain Dance. They were nominated, and I know that, you know, this is one of those things that because I'm so new on the scene and I haven't been as involved as I am. Like Rain Dance, it was like I knew it was a thing, but it wasn't on my radar like it is now, and I'd love to go back on it. The biggest challenge for me in making something like that, you'll notice with my latest video, there was a huge drop in production quality compared to the one just before that. And even then, like my half a year of my life in VRChat, there was a drop in production quality from that to the Legacy of Daddy DJ. Legacy of Daddy DJ, as funny and silly and frivolous as a video as that is my best, most polished, most well-produced, best timed video, because I got all of the B-roll just right. I had an audio file, a real guy who helped me write the script, work on the soundscape in a DAW for the audio, right? Like I edited it to perfection. It was literally perfect, like the meme, like home, every detail, right down to the last detail. That video was perfect, right? There's no way you could make the Legacy of Daddy DJ, How a Melody Inspired a Generation, a better video. I have to say the full title. It's like a pimp named Slickback.
Sure.
Right. The reason I explain all that, the biggest challenge to me being at a place like Rain Dance is that I need support. Like as a single man operation, the larger, more complex you make my videos, the harder I'm going to struggle, the more I'm going to doubt myself, the less I'm going to get out of it. Because my last video, I didn't even finish the script. I write video essays and I did write an essay. What? Okay, so that's one of the complaints I have about my latest video, right? And for other people who have criticisms, I received a comment, and I even heard some whispers of people mentioning, and this is something I say of myself, it was lazy of me, right? And it was hard to hear that from people that I look up to, that they'd say something like that, and it's like, okay, wake up call, realization. So yeah, definitely to be at a place like that, I just want to make sure that the quality is right.
Sure. And especially with that recent video too, I would assume we're talking about the 60-hour ketamine with the Wired article too.
Yes, ketamine.
That's what they were saying and they were referring to. And again, understanding that type of a shakeup in here and hearing, again, I was like coming home from work when people were DMing me, and I'm just sitting here going, okay, here's another thing that I'm going to have to read to understand. And the same thing with the big screen beyond. Yeah. I mean, that legit just came out like a couple days ago before we were going to sit down with, someone who makes a lot of videos on YouTube. We sat down with Fia. And I was like, get ready to talk about this because they're going to talk about it as much as we don't want to.
That was awesome listening to that live, by the way.
Yeah, it's great to hear their take on it. It would be great to have Thrill on board with that too, but I feel like he has to do a little bit more soul searching when it comes to the other applications in virtual reality that we can deal with. But the one of the great things about this video, and in my opinion, being from VRCDJLIVE, is just it's another way for us to communicate what we're doing in the DJ sphere and the DJ community, and where people are proactively wanting to go in the future of all of this. For me, to be working in radio for 10 years, as well as someone who performs IRL at conventions, and I have, a little bit more life experience, I guess, when it comes to that sort of stuff. I feed into that. I feed into what the DJs are wanting to do, or even how they're trying to bring drama into it. And I keep hearing about the drama, but I'm not a part of that drama, let alone just finding ways to kind of get a better understanding of what their drama is like. So before we even, we have just a couple more minutes. We have about 10 minutes left of this show. But I kind of want your opinion on how, are you starting to get a little bit more invested in the music scene here? Do you want to learn more about music or the DJs, or what are your hopes and dreams for the next latter part of the year when it comes to our community?
To talk about the music scene and the video just a little bit, since we never did. The one thing I was most proud about the latest video, discussing the Wired article and all of that, is that the one bit of good that I can guarantee came out of it is that, like you said, that in this community there are resources for people who need help. I was able to make sure that Castle, who runs the Underground, one of the biggest hub worlds for different clubs, could get in contact with Lund, who knew of an active Alcoholics Anonymous type support group, so that he could help promote them in his world. Now, the progress of that, or however it's going along, just the fact that I got those two in contact talking to work on that is a huge W. So, if nobody watched the video, if everybody said it was trash, everybody was like, you misrepresented everybody, this is terrible, you're a terrible person, Crane. The fact that one thing came out of it would have been like worth it, absolutely worth it. So it's good to know that, I also, everybody says I did good generally outside of that. Great. In terms of the music scene itself, I really regret not attending more events, because I was welcome with such open arms, and in all of my research I had the most amazing time listening to all of this music I never heard, meeting all of these people, and it's really truly as welcoming as these event spaces, which is why I group the club and music scene along as its own category, separate from events like this, because it really is a special place. It is the nexus by which all of these other groups interact, because anybody who interacts in those other two group that I mentioned, separate from the music scene, they mix there, right? It is the melting pot of this game, is the music scene, because I see the VTubers I know, I see the dance people, I see roleplay communities. Everybody wants to kick back at the end of the night and listen to some music practically in this game. If not, they maybe go to the game worlds, the Popcorn Palace or YouTube, whatever. But it's not the largest subculture in this game by any means, but there is enough people mixing from enough communities there that it's a safe space for everyone in that regard. And especially with Kaleidosky, Rue's venue is just something incredibly special, with the looking glass analogy entering in, and this real, computer-like atmosphere. That's one thing that I really criticized the original author for, and that really drove me to make the article, is that it'd be one thing if the guy had criticisms of the platform, and they were founded on something, and he did some research. Because I make criticisms of this game, and I'll listen to criticisms of this game from people like Dara Frog or Twice, or people who care about this game, because those are important things to listen to. It's how we improve the platform.
Sure.
But it was proven to me, and I am willing to accept it as fact through my research. That I can definitively say that the journalist never even entered VRChat. He conducted all of his interviews through Discord. So how are you going to report on a space or a platform when you never even stepped foot inside of it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Did you I'm not saying you had to see the ketamine being ingested live, but I mean, it was just incredibly frustrating. And like I mentioned way earlier at the beginning, I had a brief stint in politics. I say it was a brief stint in politics. It was actually a brief stint in journalism. It's just that, the two were inseparable at that particular point in history.
Mm-hmm.
So to see just such an egregious case of somebody not even hitting 3 of the 4 points in the SPJ's code of ethics, right? I had to say something.
And the video itself too, like
that criticism from that perspective.
The video itself is important, especially for the ongoing growth of our community as well. It's just like, it's not even a matter of like, let's just say we do have a lot of people that drink a lot of alcohol in this game. But there's still a lot of people that don't know what to do with that, or be able to find good resources based on that. And while your video was focused in on that one article and people's frustrations on it, you did the research. You did the little bit of the research that everybody's been wanting to do, to try to find a good resolution to it. And if there was no resolution, that's fine too. It's a stepping stone for us to be like, there can be problems in here that we have to try to find resolutions to. And funny enough, we had Rave 8 on for VRCDJLIVE, which is a support group. They offer good resources. They said it best. They said, you can't cancel an addiction like this, but you can help reduce that type of addiction. You can find ways to have the resources to find better help, as opposed to eliminating it completely. It's hard to cold turkey. I think all of us have sugar addictions. Honestly, I mean, that's still an addiction. And we all can't just quit
That's what
chocolate.
I'm drinking right now is a sugary sweet tea.
Yeah, we can't
So,
just quit that right away, because we're going to be thinking about it the next day. But having these resources and even helpful videos like this, help us, get us a little bit more grounded on the things that we need to accomplish. So I want to commend you on making this video. It's not by any means meant to be any sort of a negative video, but it's a good way for us to remember what had happened in the past, so that way we can make our future a little bit brighter. So I'm really excited about your upcoming projects and some other things that you do have coming up. Do you want to give us a quick preview of what we could be expecting by the end of the year?
Yeah. So currently, I'm going to be continuing to work as a official collab streamer for VKet. So if you look out on my Twitter, I'll either be multi-streaming Twitter, Twitch, or you'll see notifications for any collab streams I have. So if you're looking to figure out more about the convention here, I'm more than happy to be a guide for you and all of the people that I join. As well, I have been working on developing several different worlds using the CVS2 driving prefab, which is the predominant Japanese driving system. It's my favorite. It's just so good on the vehicle physics. It feels just right. I've been combining that prefab with open satellite map data, Blender files that I've been generating to recreate real street layouts that any VRChat user can drive around. So I'm currently in the process of reconstructing Davis Island from Tampa, Florida.
Oh, cool.
It's a small suburban enclave right in the middle of our downtown. And it's a perfect little, it would make a perfect little mini GTA map, right? That's sort of my hope for the end of the project if I ever art pass it and get any further out of development. But working on all of that has been a lot of fun. If you are a developer or somebody who loves working in Unity and Blender, who'd like to contribute to those projects, I'd be more than happy to have your help. Otherwise, I am working slowly as I learn towards fleshing those out to playable states. I may also work on some other driving worlds that are smaller scale, just to have something out and to learn as I go. Beyond working on driving worlds, my girlfriend has she runs an independent promotion for VRCBoxing. That's called the Kengan Association, and on August 8th, I believe, we start our 4th Annihilation tournament. And like the anime, whoever wins the tournament becomes the president of the association.
Oh,
now,
dang.
this is an association that's open invite. So any group can have a fighter represent them within this association. So you, as VRCDJ, could register a fighter and win the tournament and become the leader and proprietor of the largest independent boxing VRC boxing promotion. We are literally the biggest tournament. We are bigger than the official tournament. We set the standard, the gold standard for video production and like tournament turnout, all of it. We try to meet as best we can the Japanese standard, and we've worked with them to use their tournament worlds in the past. We've since lost that privilege, but I'm working towards helping to restore it as well. So that's going to be a very big event coming up. If you have a group, I highly encourage you to reach out to Okami the Hunter and get involved in the Kengan Association of VRChat. It's an amazing group. If you want to get athletic, get involved in VRC boxing. For me personally, towards the end of the year, beyond my world creation projects, I'm hoping to continue doing the streaming with VKet, collaborating with all of the people that I've met through this event, focusing in on the video essays. I want to get maybe 3 or 4 out before the end of the year, because there was a 6-month gap in between half a year and this latest one I did. And it's only been a month now, and I was thinking to myself, just between VKet, man, it's been a whole month since my last video. People are going to be asking me where the next one is, and
Sure.
I really want to. I want to work on it right now, right? So I've been bit by the bug. So there's going to be more videos from me down the pipeline. Don't worry. We got a grab bag. We'll go like this, reach around in there, pick one out of the hat.
That's awesome. Yeah, any more content that we can get from you and any other VRChat type of content up on YouTube is going to be gold, especially when we're trying to get better representation for the game, you know? It's not even just a matter of getting a better understanding of all the things that are going on in here, but I don't know. After a certain amount of time, I think we're all getting bored of public black cat. That's kind of the big meme right now, is like nobody goes to watch out if you're going to go to the black cat in a public instance. You're going to be carrying a lot of uncertainty when it comes to that.
Quite a few of my early streams were me publicly walking public black cats on Twitch, because I did not fear anything getting me stricken down.
But that's still entertaining, though. That's the thing. It's all entertainment.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Is it was very entertaining, and it got me some early notoriety before I discovered these scenes. And it can be fun, despite what I personally benefit from it. It can be fun. You know, being in the chaos from time to time, it can help you also appreciate what you have here.
Absolutely, no doubt. So before we get on out of here, Crane, you want to tell everybody at home where they can find you on the internet?
Yes. I am CraneVT on almost all social media platforms. On Twitter or X, that's going to be an underscore between Crane and VT. Everywhere else, it's basically one word. That's CRANE, like the bird or the construction equipment, and then VT, like VTuber.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube, Twitch, X, Discord.
Perfect.
Those are all those. That's the big four, the four horsemen of
For now.
social media.
Until people
For now.
are asking you to get on a little bit more. But Crane, thank you so much for coming on the show, talking a little bit about this. I'd love to try to get you back on the show for reals, to kind of dive in more if you have more questions and you want to know more about the dance community. You know, there's still plenty of things to talk about with it.
No, absolutely. I've had a wonderful time. You're a great host, and any opportunity to yap, I just jump at the bit. So definitely.
Awesome. So guys, it's VRCDJLIVE. We're live here at, I have to make sure I say the name correctly all of the time. The Alta Vista Midnight Crescent Com. I wanted to call it the Crescent Moon, but I guess it's the Crescent Com. We're here for a little while longer, and I think I had, going to try to see if we can flag down Tunity, because he just came in here, and be interesting to talk about Fishbowl with him. So we'll be right back. Everybody stick around. We're going to just take a quick break.